Hi fellow mortals and welcome to a new video. So as you might know, I recently started a Discord community, so if you want to join that, please check out the link in my description or in my comments down below. We have a very lovely community over there with very accepting people, so definitely do join my Discord if you want to. But in this Discord server, I've been having a lot of conversations with fellow goths, and I've been talking a lot to these people about the struggles that come with being goth. And one topic that keeps coming back is the way that goths are treated or are acting on social media. So I thought today we would have a little talk, or actually I would have a little rant about goths on social media and the way that goths are viewed and treated and acting on social media. Definitely in a few of the things that I'm gonna be talking about today, I am part of the problem too, so I'm definitely not gonna say that I'm not. I also use social media, and there's also some of these things that I want to talk about that I've probably contributed to. Before I start talking about all this, please don't forget to check out my Instagram. I post a lot of goth content on there and also updates about my YouTube channel. So please follow me on Instagram and also take a look at my memberships on my channel if you want to. So the first thing that I really want to talk about when it's about goths on social media is just the toxicity of goth communities. Usually the goth community is very accepting, very open, very nice, especially in real life. Like if you go to a goth club or you meet goths in real life, most people are just very open and accepting and welcoming. Like most goths are just very lovely people. But on a lot of social media, for some reason, goth communities are just kind of really toxic. Just to name some examples, I don't know if you've ever been on the r/goth Reddit page, and that place is kind of like infamous or like kind of known for being very elitist and gatekeeping. If you are like a part of this r/goth community, I'm not here to hate on you, and I'm definitely not here to hate on the r/goth, because I do have to admit that they do have a lot of fun stuff, and I sometimes use r/goth for my research for my videos and stuff, because there's some elder goths on there who have a lot of interesting things to say sometimes, you know. But as I said, it's definitely known to be a pretty toxic place. The moderators of the r/goth community remove and delete posts that they don't think are goth enough. So maybe you found a band that you really like something like Type O Negative, and you're like, well, that's a goth band, right? So you go to r/goth to post something about Type O Negative, and a moderator deletes it because Type O Negative isn't really goth. They're just really strict about what can be called goth and what cannot be called goth. If they think your post isn't goth enough or you don't sound goth enough, then they will delete your posts. And before anyone starts, yes, it is good to have like standards and to not let the goth subculture become too broad. Like deleting Billie Eilish posts in a goth subreddit, I get that. But I think the focus should be more on educating each other on the goth subculture instead of hating each other or deleting posts just because someone is misinformed or because someone is new as a goth. And especially things like Type O Negative or Joy Division, posts like that. Like a lot of goths love that music, even if it's not exactly goth music. I don't get why that shouldn't be allowed in a goth place to talk about, since a lot of goths just really are into those bands. So I think it's in a way just part of the goth subculture, and I don't think people should be so strict about these things. So yes, I understand why in some cases gatekeeping is sort of needed, but 99% of the time, especially on social media and in like Reddit, it's just not necessary. And also just a lot of like posts and comments on this subreddit are just very mean towards a lot of other goths, telling people that they are posers or not being welcoming to new goths like baby bats at all. There's just a lot of toxicity in those kind of communities. I also found this screenshot saying, "What's up with r/goth subreddit? A baby bat was asking how much goth music they needed to listen to be goth. I encouraged them to define goth their own way within the larger subculture for themselves. I was accused of stereotyping." So this is the kind of stuff that happens over there. There's just a lot going on in these kind of online communities. And it's not only Reddit, it's a lot of places. It's also on Instagram. Like if you've ever really watched Instagram reels or like TikTok videos, you know, you've probably seen some people just being super mean to each other. Like someone posts their outfit and people are saying, "No, you don't look goth enough," or someone is posting something goth related and everyone in the comments is saying, well, I don't believe that you're goth. Or sometimes people are just being mean about their appearance, like saying stuff like, well, your makeup looks very stupid, like if you want to be goth, you shouldn't do your makeup that way. There's just definitely a lot of gatekeeping in these online communities, and a lot of people who are just being very mean about each other's appearances. Another very good example of this is Discord. I've joined so many just like Discord servers that were so toxic, these alternative or goth communities that just kind of bully you for anything. Like a lot of these Discord servers have like a place where you can post your selfies or your outfits, and when people post their outfits, everyone's being so mean to each other, like, well, you shouldn't buy your clothes in that store, and you shouldn't wear that kind of stuff, and that doesn't look goth at all. Like some people even tell each other that they can't be goth if you have a certain skin color, or you can't be goth if you have a certain weight, or if you are underweight or overweight or something. Like just the stupidest things. And it actually does happen, like on Reddit, on Instagram, on YouTube, even in the comments. I actually still have a screenshot of when I joined a Dutch goth community on Discord, probably something like 4 years ago. The very first message that I got when I joined, it was Dutch, so I will just translate it. So what they said is, please tell me your bio is sarcastic or I will bully you, a very terrible sickness, hard. So that was literally the first message that like an alternative person sent to me when I joined. And it was probably either because I had goth in my bio and they didn't think I was goth or something, or because I don't know. I don't really know why this person said that. This is just what happens in a lot of these communities. A friend of mine actually helped me with this video and gave me a lot of inspiration and just a lot of things to look into. His name is Ralo. It's actually not pronounced Ralo, but Ralo, so excuse me for saying it wrong throughout this whole video. And he actually has like a gothic blog with a lot of interesting things that he talks about, so I will link his blog in the description down below so you can check that out. But Ralo has written a little part about goth communities on Discord and how toxic they are. And I just want to quote this little part from his blog that says, in the past, I joined another official goth server that was also very elitist, and upon entry, they require you to tell them about goth bands and what got you into the subculture. They didn't like my response and called me darkly inclined, so I left as I'm not having any of that. So in case you don't know, a lot of people who are gatekeeping the goth community call each other darkly inclined instead of goth. So when someone is into a lot of dark stuff, but you don't think they are goth enough, you call them darkly inclined. That's kind of a thing that a lot of like goth gatekeepers say to like other goths, to tell them like, you aren't goth enough, you are just darkly inclined. So this is just another example of people who join a Discord server that is about goth and people just being so not welcoming. It kind of feels like they want you to verify that you're actually goth before you can join the server, which I understand because like a lot of goth communities have a lot of trolls and bullies, so I understand why you would want to check if someone is actually goth. But I think asking someone for how goth they are and trying to prove how goth you are, and then being denied while you are actually goth, like being denied just because they don't feel you are goth enough, is very annoying. Like if you're a troll, I understand it, but if someone is really feeling like they are goth and they want to be in the goth community, then I find it so annoying that people are just kind of gatekeeping that in these type of communities, and it just happens a lot on Discord and Reddit. Like, what happened to teaching each other stuff about goth instead of bullying each other for not knowing enough about goth? So yeah, another few quotes that I'm just reading here are, the owner attacked new members, trying to make them look stupid for not knowing a certain goth band. You don't have to know every single goth band in order to be goth. And if they don't know these bands, then that doesn't mean that they aren't goth, it just means that they haven't seen these bands yet, or these bands are just maybe not as popular anymore in like the newer generation of goths, you know. So like if someone doesn't know the goth band that you like, that doesn't mean that they aren't goth, it just means that they maybe listen to other types of goth music, you know. So that's just kind of my little rant about elitism and gatekeeping in like goth communities on social media. And another thing that Ralo also points out, a lot of these social media places for goths also just really still objectify goths a lot. Ralo points out that a lot of Discord servers that is about goth very much focus on NSFW content. Like there's a lot of NSFW channels and a lot of talk is about that, and there's just a lot of focus on that. And there's also apparently a lot of Discord servers that are about dating goths. And these dating servers aren't just about like innocently dating someone. There's just a lot of people who are objectifying goths and who are desperately looking for a goth girlfriend. And also a lot of these servers are not 18 plus. So a lot of these servers that are goth themed, that really focus on NSFW content, allow young people in there. So a lot of young people are coming into contact with all this gross stuff, not only just the objectifications of goths, but also just NSFW content in general, through these communities. So that is kind of the problem with objectification of goths and fetishization of goths in Discord itself. But there's also just a lot of other places where you see this objectification of goths. There's a lot of very well-known memes about goths that just talk about goths in very gross ways. There's like this big goth girlfriend thing meme that's going around a lot, which very much objectifies goths. It's like, I want a goth girlfriend because she has big, cherries. So that is also a thing that goes around a lot on social media, like memes about goths that kind of view goths in a very objectified way, especially on Instagram and TikTok. There's also just a lot of videos of women who are using the word goth to appeal to men. And lately what I've been seeing a lot is that a lot of girls have been kind of like cosplaying as goths. Like, I'm not trying to gatekeep here. This is just literally girls who are not goth but who just put on a goth looking outfit, and then they make like videos like, I'm your goth mommy, or let me be your goth girl with daddy issues and that kind of stuff. Well, they aren't even goth, but they are using the word goth in order to like attract men. And what I've especially been seeing lately is that they use this word goth to promote their OF. Like, if you don't know what OF is, it's a site where you can sell content for money, and it's often used by girls who like post like, explicit content, which is like a thing, and that's fine, but it really becomes a problem when they are kind of trying to link that to the word goth to like attract people to their OF page, which I think is just kind of weird to use someone else's subculture in a way like that, just to kind of lie about the fact that you are goth just so you can attract men who probably think, oh, a goth girl, she must be hot, she must have daddy issues, she must be kinky, she must be whatever. That is not what goth is about at all. And that is just a very big problem that I see a lot in just pretty much all social media when it's about goth. When you look up goth on YouTube, the first videos that you find is finding a goth girlfriend, which is like already kind of a way of objectifying goth girls. If you desperately want a goth girlfriend because you expect certain things from her, it's just, I feel like that's kind of objectifying her. Like, definitely not in every case, but just in a lot of these cases it does mean that. And when you look up goth on Instagram, the first few things that you get are literally just OF girls wearing some black clothes and telling people that they are a goth with daddy issues, or a goth who likes choking or something like that, when that is not what goth is about. Again, these people are just kind of using that word just to promote themselves. So I also have a whole collection of weird comments and weird things that people have said about goths, so I will probably just flash some of those screenshots on the screen so you can see for yourself what people are saying about goths and just how this is an actual thing that is happening.
Huh? What? No! God, please, no! No! No!
And the last thing I want to talk about is the focus on fashion, consumption, and wealth when it's about goth. And this is one of those things that I am definitely guilty of. I've definitely made some videos where I do a clothing haul, where I show off my clothes or my items that I got for Halloween or something, or for my birthday. And I wouldn't really call that overconsumption, because I literally buy things like once a year. Maybe I wouldn't call it overconsumption, but I would definitely call it focusing a lot on like materialistic things and on fashion. So I will definitely admit that I've been guilty of that too. And of course it doesn't have to be negative, like in any case. Like, sometimes like showing off some of your goth clothes can be very fun to watch and just very fun to make, and it's also informative for people who want to get more into like gothic fashion, and you want to know where you can buy stuff or what kind of outfits you could make. But I feel like there's definitely sometimes a lot too much focus on the fashion. Firstly, what I want to say is goth isn't really about the fashion. Goth is more about goth music and about the goth lifestyle and the goth mindset and just, all that. And the fashion is kind of like an optional thing, but the fact that so many YouTube videos and so many TikToks and Instagram reels and so much content about goth stuff is about fashion, that kind of makes it seem like the fashion is more important than the music. There's literally so many YouTube channels that are very popular that do not make any content except for clothing hauls, or who only really do fashion things, which is like fine. Like, I am not judging them at all. Like, it's definitely fun to watch, but it does kind of make people feel like fashion is the most important thing of goth when it isn't. And it also kind of makes some goths feel very insecure, because indirectly, constantly having new clothes and showing off new clothes and showing off expensive goth brands can make people feel insecure, especially people who do not have the money or who do not have the opportunity to be able to buy these gothic clothes, or these clothes do not ship to their country or something. It can make people feel insecure as a goth, because they think like, I need to have these clothes because everyone has them, and in order to be goth I need these clothes because every single cool goth on the internet has these clothes, when of course that isn't true at all. And also, just to focus on like trad goth makeup on, for example, TikTok, a lot of people are doing trad goth makeup and saying like, oh, this is how you look goth and stuff. It makes baby bats feel like they have to be able to do trad goth makeup in order to be a real goth, when again, you don't have to look that way in order to be goth. You can just wear normal makeup or wear no makeup at all and still be a goth and still look goth. Definitely, you can just wear goth clothes and no makeup and you can still look very goth. Like, that is pretty much what I do in my everyday life, because I'm too lazy to do makeup every day. I've talked to a lot of people on Discord who say that they feel very insecure because they do not dress goth and they feel like they have to, but they don't really want to, or they can't really do it. And some people are insecure about the place where they get their clothes. Like, please, it doesn't matter where you get your clothes. Like, even if they're thrifted, which is a thing a lot of goths do, or they're from like a certain website, or they come from whatever shop you got them from, it doesn't really matter, and you don't have to DIY every single piece of clothing that you have in order to be goth. Like, I've seen a lot of people talk about that too, is not being able to do DIY, or not having time for it, or not knowing how to do it, and therefore feeling insecure because every goth is supposed to know how to DIY. But DIY is definitely a very big part of the goth subculture, but nobody can call you not goth enough because you don't DIY your clothes. Like, you can DIY your clothes and it's definitely a very common thing, but you don't have to do that if you're goth, and you definitely don't have to be insecure about not doing DIY. It's kind of another problem, just how much people focus on appearance in the goth community is maybe something that we need to bring a little more awareness, that not everyone has to look that way. Not everyone has to look like a trad goth. Not everyone has to wear black. Not everyone has to have Killstar clothes. Not everyone has to DIY their clothes. And to quote the blog of Ralo again, I have a psychological issue where I don't feel adequate enough. Even if I had the funds, I'm not sure I'd feel up to doing some of the desired looks with makeup and hair because I'm not happy with my appearance. I don't feel pretty enough, and I have a lot of past emotional trauma relating to that. So it makes it hard when trying to get into certain things. So feeling insecure about the way you look, or maybe feeling insecure about not being able to do makeup well, or not being able to put together outfits well, or maybe you're insecure about your body or your face, which is why you don't want to do goth makeup, or which is why you feel that goth clothes wouldn't fit you. These are all kind of reasons why people choose not to look goth as a goth, and still these people feel like they have to wear goth clothes in order to feel adequate enough, in order to feel goth enough. Looking goth makes you insecure, but not looking goth also makes you insecure. And I think we just need to be a lot more accepting to people who look more casual, or who have a complete different fashion style and who still call themselves goth. And again, I think that Ralo puts this into very good words. He said, "Having fancy things and being successful is not what goth is about, nor what it represents. If they get to be successful and live extravagant lives, good for them, but it's not what the subculture is about, nor should it be presented as such. Goth is about individuality and standing up for what we believe in." I think this is very well put. Like, it's good for you if you have a lot of fancy gothic clothes, and if you like are able to do super incredible makeup looks as a goth, but this is not what goth is about, and not everyone who is goth has to do these things or has to have these things. So yeah, that was my little rant about the problems of goth in social media. I really wonder if you deal with like these kind of struggles too. Do let me know your experience in the comments down below. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, leave a like and a comment on the video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye!